I have been very well versed on the disputed region of Kashmir. We know that the U.S. interest in South Asia focuses on ongoing tensions between India and Pakistan, rooted largely in competing claims to the Kashmir region and in a cross-border terrorism in both Kashmir and major Indian cities. In the interest of regional stability, the United States has strongly endorsed an existing but currently moribund India-Pakistan Peace Initiative and remains concerned about the potential for conflict over the Kashmiri sovereignty causes open hostilities between these two nuclear-armed countries.
It is a great tragedy that Kashmir, instead of being the link between two neighbors with shared history, has ended up becoming the focal point of conflict between those neighbors. In fact, soon after independence, when the founder of Pakistan, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, was asked what kind of relationship did he envisage between the new country of Pakistan and India, he said he would look towards a relationship a bit more like that between the United States and Canada. And had the tragedy of Kashmir not intervened, perhaps that is where we would have been today.
Now, today we are meeting again after a whole year, and regretfully one has to admit that though the intervening period has been full of disturbing events for both Pakistan and India and the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and thereby disrupting the peace process. Last year when we met, we had considered the possibilities of innovative models and fresh options for resolving the Kashmir dispute. Whatever gains have been achieved over the past half a decade, dialogues have been checkmated by what has happened over the past year, which has brought the process of dialogue to a standstill.
Recently, we had what Indian states claims to be another democratic exercise in Jammu and Kashmir state, because all the elections in J&K have been rigged, whether it was the first election in 1951 or the subsequent elections, to impose puppet regimes on the people of Jammu and Kashmir state. In the latest elections, the Indian authorities claimed that these were entirely free and fair, and they also claimed that this indicates people's full expression of full faith in the Indian democratic system and their endorsement of Kashmir being an
Pakistan, we have a principled commitment to the Kashmir cause. And this commitment is bigger than any government or any leader. No Zardari, no Musharraf, no anybody can change Kashmir policy. Kashmir policy is a national policy where the 170 million people of Pakistan are totally committed to supporting the genuine and just struggle of the Kashmiri people. So it is above any government, above any individual.
Begin to prescribe solutions ahead of having a vehicle, a framework that is agreed to. Now clearly the Indian government and the government in Jammu and Kashmir feels that elections are a substitute. That obviously is contested by large numbers of people in Kashmir as well as by Pakistan.
There is a need, and I, as a student of political science, I do believe that when two governments are unable, and as I would say in the last 62 years, governments of India and Pakistan have not given us any reason to believe that they are capable of resolving this problem or dispute on their own. A simple theory of probability, no chance they would do it in the next 62 years on their own. So I believe that there is a need for a facilitation, intervention, or mediation. These are the three mechanisms available to diplomacy. We need a third party. And unless an acceptable third party is available and gets into the act, my fear is that we will not see the solution. At least I don't think I'll see the solution in my lifetime.
I wrote a paper on the logic of third-party mediation in Kashmir, and it's interesting that Indians and Pakistanis have again today got together at a third location to discuss the very important issue of Kashmir. And I come here as a journalist, a reporter. I have been in and out of Kashmir at least 100 times in the last 20 years. I first went there in 1989, and I keep going back to Kashmir because there's something about Kashmir that, and this is a huge admission to make, but there's something about the Kashmir problem that sometimes makes me lose my objectivity as a journalist. And I think the reason for that is that Kashmir is a humongous human tragedy. Kashmir, however, has been the central focus of hostility between India and Pakistan since the two gained independence in 1947. Many optimists believed that overt weaponization of the unexercised nuclear capability in 1998 would actually lead to some semblance of peace and therefore to restraint and strategic stability. But as we know, that has not happened. Kargil, in fact, did not make for a less worried and more relaxed life in South Asia, nor did the possession of nuclear weapons deter war between the possessors. Instead, it highlighted the tension that exists between India and Pakistan, and this tension will continue as long as Kashmir remains the core issue between the two countries. Forget about the international community. The people of Kashmir do not accept India's legitimacy over Jammu and Kashmir. Some of the answers to Kashmir lie in understanding the hard reality that the law and order approach will not help, is not going to help. To look at the dynamics of politics in Kashmir, it is imperative, it is important to understand what people are going through instead of looking at Kashmir as a piece of land which can be kept through the use of force, through the use of brutal force. To apply balm for these wounds, India will have to change its mindset and its approach to how it views Kashmir. It has to change the way it looks. It has to change its focus. You cannot contain Kashmir. You cannot solve Kashmir by pursuing this policy of containment or by looking at it as a purely law and order problem. Until India changes its mindset, I think Dr. Fay will continue inviting us to discuss the regional and international dimensions, because it's the regional dimension in Kashmir and Government of India's mindset that contributes largely in making it and giving it this international dimension. Thank you.
Kashmir is a subject close to my heart, and it makes me remember how, when I first wanted to publish a book, my first book was in fact called Kashmir in the Crossfire. Over 15 years ago now, I approached several publishers before finding my current publisher. And the response was, "Why are you so interested in Kashmir? It's a small, remote area which no one wants to hear about." My response at that time was, "You're wrong. It's not a small, remote area which no one is interested in. It's an important area which has both regional and international ramifications." My views haven't changed, and I know that in the intervening time, more and more people really do appreciate how important it is to focus on what is now commonly called the Kashmir issue or the Kashmir dispute.